Coven, and I'm inviting you to learn Logic Pro X with me. Today we're going to be diving into how to unlock your wild creativity with dinosaur and animal sounds. Did you know that Logic Pro X has a bunch of stock sounds for animals and also dinosaur sounds? Oh yeah, they're a really fun way to add some audio Easter eggs into your material to just play around and create some wild sounds or just have fun with your music production session. So let's dive in and learn how you can craft your own wild sounding tracks. As per usual, when you open up your Logic session, it's going to automatically come up with classic electric piano for your software instrument. But we're not really going for that electric piano vibe today. We want to unlock some wild creativity. And the best way to do that is to search for some sounds. So we're going to start by diving into our Apple Loops, our sound library. Now, Logic has a really, really robust sound library for you to choose from. I really recommend that you come up with a couple of keywords to search for to help narrow down these loops so that you can just not have to spend hours scrolling through all of these beautiful things that they have to offer for us. So our first keyword we're going to use is dinosaur. And already we have our first animal sound, a dinosaur growl. Let's listen to that. Now for right now, we're just going to be layering all of these in. So we have our dinosaur growl. We can already see our animals coming up over there. I know because of a previous search that there are some brontosaurus sounds in here. Oh yes, there's also a brontosaurus whale. So I'm going to mute this. Spoiler alert, brontosaurus whale is one that I like to use as an audio Easter egg in my project. So let's listen to that one more time. Here is our brontosaurus whale. For fun, let's see what that would sound like reversed. A fun way to customize if you so choose. I'm going to unreverse that. Let's unmute and play them together. Already we have some textures going on with our two different sounds. All right, so we have our dinosaurs taken care of. Let's just double check and make sure there's just those two. All right, so we have our dinosaurs. Let's keep going in our loops. And we're going to search animal. Oh, look at that. Brontosaurus whale would have come up with that too. Wow, we have a whole bunch of animal sounds that come up. Let's listen to them one by one. Here we have bark. Pretty straightforward. So we're going to pull that in. Let's do our chimpanzee calls. Now, I want to point out, in terms of tonal quality, that one has a little bit more brightness, that has a little bit more twang. The ones that we've heard so far have a little bit more robust resonance, are a little bit rounder, almost a little bit darker in quality. So that's a way that we can layer these animal sounds together and still create a full tonal soundscape. So let's pull that in there. We're going to listen to these together so far. Love. All right, let's do cow moo. So let's pull in our cow moo. Crickets. Ooh, I think I'm going to like this one. I like that because it almost has a percussive quality to it in addition to the melody of those crickets. So that could be a way to put some rhythm in there. If we're thinking about the four elements when we're creating an 8-bar loop, those four elements of an 8-bar loop would be lead, pad, bass line, and percussion. So maybe crickets are going to be our percussion. Maybe the chimpanzee is going to be like our lead. Maybe that the dinosaur growl and brontosaurus whale are more like our pads. And maybe the bark is our bass line. All right, so we have our dogs, or wait, let's see. Oh, there's bark and dogs barking. Okay. This one I would think of is almost more percussion. And look, it's almost the same length as cricket. So I think I would keep that in more of the percussion category. Let's listen to those together. Nice. Let's do frogs at night. I would consider that to be almost a lead because we're having that distinctive melody that's popping out every once in a while as opposed to a consistent rhythm or consistent, a sustained amount of sound. Let's listen to that together. That's kind of funny. All right, our growling animal. Ooh. This one I'm going to put at the beginning of our first measure, and I'm going to copy and paste it at the top of our measure 5. So we haven't really built these out with copying and pasting yet. We've just been creating our basic sound palette, but I already know that I'm going to want to use this growling animal as a hit. So I'm thinking ahead and going to put it at the head of that number 5 bar line in addition to at the top of the loop. So let's listen to that together. Whoops, I just realized that is not the full 8 bars. There we go. Ooh, we almost have a bit of a call and response between the growling animal and frogs at night, which is pretty cool. That happened. That was a happy accident. Loon calls. Ooh, this is a nice long one too. So that'll probably be the full fleshing out of our 8-bar loop. So let's take a listen. That's almost like a lead, right? Because it has such variety of melody. I'm going to solo this and see how much silence there is at the beginning. All right, let's take off our 8-bar loop and listen to that all together so we can hear the full loon calls. That is so cool. We've kind of layered it out like we would shape a song structure. We have the beginning, which has all of this big explosion of sound. We sort of peter out a little bit into the verse, and then we have our pre-chorus where we're really bringing it in and can do another explosion of sound in the chorus once we start copying and pasting. Let's journey forth into our animal sounds. Rooster call is up next. pretty straightforward. Let's drag that in and listen to it together. I love that loon call so much. There's so much melodic, just fun stuff to play with in there. All right, seagulls. Excellent. This is a great one to keep in mind if you're doing an ocean theme type of song. Let's listen to that together. Excellent. Last but not least, we have our sheepdog. Let's add it in. Excellent. All right. We've already created, 13 tracks because we have that first one that's electric piano, but 13 tracks just with animal sounds. And the great thing about nature is that there's all of these just rhythms and melodies that we might not think of at first listen as rhythms and melodies because we think of them as just a part of nature. But if we can really take a step back and observe all of the cadences that live within these animal sounds, we can really sculpt out something cool and unexpected within our tracks. Now, you might not want to use 13 animal sounds in your songs, but perhaps there's a way that you could use growling animal to do at the beat drop in your big chorus. Perhaps you do loon calls to add some ethereal sounds and eeriness to your bridge. Right? There are ways that we can feed these into our tracks that people might not necessarily think, oh, that's an animal sound, because you can put some cool effects on it. You can, make it your own and customize it. But we're starting from that core of nature. And if you're somebody who has a lot of natural themes within their writing already, why not lean into that and infuse some of these nature sounds into your tracks to really help them sparkle? Let's keep going. Search for dinosaur. We've searched for brontosaurus. Let's search for jungle. All right, and with jungle, we have some cool beats in here. Let's listen to what this actual just jungle sounds like. I'm already liking this. Let's drag it in. This will give us some great texture. For our track. And because it lasts for a long time, that sample's over a minute long, we can really have that be a through line as we layer through these other sounds. Concrete jungle, what does that sound like? Those are city sounds. That's not quite what we're going for here, but let's listen to some jungle beats. And jungle sub bass. So that's a way, perhaps you don't want literal animal sounds, but you want to still have that nature vibe. Why not try a jungle sub bass, a jungle beat? Let's see. Trip hop jungle beat. Let's hear that. I think I am going to pull in this jungle sub bass though, because I did like that. Let's see how that sounds together. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull this out actually so it doesn't start until some of the nature sounds subside a bit. Let's listen. So what if you had a very nature-themed intro, then we had a jungle bass beat that came in, sub bass, that jungle sub bass, and then the song starts to flesh out a bit. What's that electric jungle beat? I am curious. I'm curious. I'm just curious. What would it sound like if we dragged that here? That could be fun. We're going to keep that just in casey. All right, let's move on because I think that's pretty much all we're going to be getting out of jungle here. Let's search Safari. Why not? That's kind of fun. All right, then we have Safari. That's all we have there, but we've put it in. What about, oh, Ladybug. I didn't even think about Ladybug, but that could be one. It's not technically an animal sound, but it still has animal in the name. Let's do Forest. Ooh, Forest Evening. Let's hear. We're going to be putting both of these in here. Let's listen to Rainforest House Beat 1. And Beat 2. Both of those actually. We're going to pull them in over here. And we can extend and copy and paste these later. But I just want to hear what that sounds like. Already, I'm going to copy and paste these. I like how it sounds together. We're crafting our song, giving it some wild vibes, and also grounding it in tonal tracks and rhythmic tracks that have wild vibes to them. It's kind of a breakdown of what we can find within our loops. You can spend some time and find your own keywords or just scroll through and see what else you can find. But, in the meantime, let's look at some other strategies for building out these tracks. Let's do a new software instrument track. as we know, it automatically comes up on classic electric piano. But I'm going to go over to our sound library to the left and search the sounds this way. So these are going to be more of our instruments as opposed to the loops or samples that we found over to our menu here on the right. This will be in our sound library. So let's look up nature. And we have a few sounds that come up. Now this is signature, so that's not quite what we're going for, but nature sounds could be something. Let's take a listen. Musical typing so you can see. So if you wanted to use your MIDI keyboard or your musical typing, you could build a bespoke nature sound track using the nature sound in your library. Let's open up our piano roll editor. Now, what stinks, I was hoping that you could see the actual names of the notes on the left like you can with the drum tracks, but unfortunately you can't for this one. But you can just do a little bit of experimentation. And play around what it has to offer. Ooh, some storm sounds. I'm going to actually record this right now. Romeo's trying to add his own nature sounds in there. He's digging on the bed. Okay, now for this, I'm going to Command A to quantize it. I'm going to right click on it, trim note end to following notes with force legato, so that way it can go through the whole phrase. Now I'm going to copy and paste this and paste. We're going to do that here too. Whoops. And there we go. We've created our own bespoke nature track with just that nature sound in our sound library. Let's do the same thing with the other nature sound. Whoops. It would be helpful if I spelled nature correctly. There we go. We have some storm sounds in here. I do want to record some of these because that would be a great thing to use for a hit somewhere. Let's try it. Whoops. Well, had a little bit of a finger slip there. I want this to be 4. So I'm really just creating a beat here. I'm going to do that a few times over. Let's see what that sounds like. Great. Let's move that to here where we get a little bit busier. Oops. And let's hear that all together from the top. granted, we're going to have to copy and paste some of this stuff. Let's do that real quick to finish out our track. All right. I do want to copy and paste these as well. But I'm going to do it every other one. Just, we're going to just Tetris it for funsies. We can always change our mind later. Okay, so we've done our nature sounds in the sound library. Let's see, if I do animal, nothing really comes up. Let's try one of our other keywords, forest. Oh, and there we go. We have two that come up, alien rainforest and forest flute. Let's take a listen to those. But first, I want to do a new software instrument track. And then we search for that and we find our forest flute and rainforest. So let's hear forest flute. All right, so we could do that for a lead. I'll probably want to put that a little bit later. Let's see. Let's record it around here. You know what? That other one was an A minor, so I'm going to actually change this to A minor. They're relative keys, so whoops, it won't be that big of a deal. But I think that'll fit in better, and it will sound a little, I think minor keys sound a little bit more foresty anyway. Awesome. Let's quantize. Command A. Q to quantize. Ooh, I already can tell this one where it should be. Let's listen to that. You know what? We're going to do our tried and true. I don't like this measure, so I'm going to copy and paste this measure. Let's do that. And now I can listen to how that weaves in with everything else. Excellent. Let's do the same thing with our alien rainforest. I'm going to search forest to bring that back up. And we have our alien rainforest. I think I'm going to use that as like a hit pad combo. So let's solo it so we don't get auditory overwhelm. And I'm just going to do on an A, an octave, I'm going to just go and hit on that downbeat. I like that. It's going to give some really nice gravitas and quantize. Let's listen to how that sounds together. From the very beginning of our song. Now we did do a bit of arranging on this, but obviously it has not been arranged out into a full song. We just sort of completed the thought for today's purposes. But you can really play around with this and layer out these sounds in however you want. So let's listen to it from the beginning. This is a very, very rough draft of our track. We've just been throwing auditory pasta at the wall, if you will, animal pasta, whatever you want to refer to it as. And then this is what came up. So let's take a listen from the top. Not too shabby. Now, I was already hearing some places that I want to copy and paste and add in some new things, but we have our foundation for our wild creativity track with animal sounds and dinosaur sounds. Who knew that you could create such a robust soundtrack? I mean, we have 25 different tracks here that are just animal sounds or animal related sounds. You can really, really have fun and create these auditory Easter eggs for your listeners and for your fans. Why not say, hey, there's a rooster call in track number 3. Can you find it? There are loon calls in track number 8. Can you hear them? I mean, why not? Taylor Swift does it. You can. I hope you enjoyed learning all about the animal sounds that live within Logic Pro X. And I hope you have fun with your wild creativity, making some auditory Easter eggs in your next track. See you next time.